Hello and welcome to No Expectations Video Store Podcast. I'm Ben.
And I'm James.
And I'm Max.
And today we're talking about the 1982 action classic First Blood, or technically Rambo First Blood, I think is actually the full title.
No, I think it's just First Blood.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's see.
The book was just called First Blood, too.
I think over time, like on the collections, they call it Rambo First Blood. What does it say on the box?
First Blood.
No, First Blood. Okay. Stallone, First Blood.
I was actually looking it up, too, on IMDb, and I was typing in Rambo, and everything came up First Blood Part 2, Part 3, and I had to do, First Blood. That's
There
what
you
pulled
go.
it up.
Interesting. Okay, interesting. So, yes, we watched First Blood, starring Sylvester Stallone, Richard Crenna, and Brian Dennehy.
Yeah.
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 It was directed by Ted Kochev.
Guy did Fun with Dick and Jane, the original Fun with Dick and Jane.
Yes, and Weekend at Bernie's.
Yeah.
Which is an all-time classic, which hopefully we'll do on the channel sometime. But, so, I mean, the whole reason why we did this was because Max had never seen it. So, Max, I want you to just kind of kick us off and talk about your first impressions, because, you know, we have a First Blood newbie over here.
Yes, I'm First Blood on the First Blood. Popped my cherry with this one on Rambo. And
It was a bloody cherry.
I liked it so much that I moved straight into Rambo 2.
He did. He showed us.
And that was kind of a disappointment. I think if I would have waited a little bit and watched Rambo 2, I wouldn't be so fresh with First Blood, because that was a phenomenal movie. 5 out of 5. I get, it was great. I appreciate you guys recommending it, because how did I miss it?
Yeah, that makes me so happy, honestly.
Yeah,
because I knew you'd love it. It's like, it's so freaking good. And I'm super
guys.
biased because, like, I love Stallone. We watched it since we were kids, you know what I mean? So it's like a different perspective. But having not watched it all the way through in probably a good, 3 or 4 years.
you watch it quite frequently, then.
I do watch it, yeah. And maybe it's been longer, but I just watched it so many times as a kid. It's like ingrained in my mind, you know? But let's say, 3 to 5 years. But yeah, watching it, there were certain scenes I remembered, but they weren't as fresh. Like the scene where he's in the truck. You know, I remembered him throwing the guy out, but I didn't remember, like, the cop car crashed into the other car and blew up.
Yeah.
And also the ending seemed a little more intense than I remembered. Like, that monologue
His
hit
monologue was
harder
really
than
good.
I've
Yeah.
ever heard it. I mean, like, I knew the story of, the guy coming up, and spoiler alert, him saying that a box was given, a shoe shine box was given to his buddy, and it blew up and killed him. And there were pieces of his friend all over, and he was, he's crying and he's breaking down.
I just want to go home, and
Yeah.
he's just like, you have no legs.
I know.
You have no legs.
I know,
What am I supposed
Lieutenant
to
Dan. And it just hit different, man. It hit different.
His performance in there was like so good. One of his,
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a while since I've seen like a great Stallone performance. Besides, I mean, Tulsa King's pretty good, but I mean, like, from his early work, I was like, wow, this, like, he. There's a reason why, like, he is that star. Like,
It was so emotional.
good. Like, it was great. And the fun fact about it is, like, because they reshot that scene, because originally, he was supposed to die.
Yeah, I'm really glad they didn't do that. I'm sure Sly is too, because of all the sequels and all the money. That
Yeah,
they
I
made
mean,
off the
they
subsequent ones.
showed it to audience, and it just didn't work. It was
Yeah.
a poor response and everything. So
Yeah, well, I think that's how the book originally ended. It was going
Yeah.
to be just him, ending himself at the end.
They changed a lot from the book and the movie too. It was supposed to be more like action based and more of him going on a killing spree, which he doesn't do that in here. He actually never kills anyone, unless you count the cop. He crashing into the cop car, but it's never explained if the people die in that cop car.
Yeah, and even the guy, Dr. Phil shooting at him from the helicopter. That character deserved it, man. What a jerk. But great acting from all those guys. All the guys that played assholes, they did such a tremendous job. Like, you really hated them. Like, they were such jerks. But that one was really indirect. I mean, because he threw the rock, and then the helicopter pilot, like, shook.
I'm just wondering why the pilot never said anything. Like, oh, it was an accident. Like, he just fell off. Like, did they ever say that in the movie? I didn't. If I missed it or something.
I don't know.
I don't think the helicopter pilot wanted to.
I don't think he stuck around.
Yeah, be a part of it.
Yeah, he's like, I'm out.
Yeah. So originally, one of the fun facts on this movie was Stallone wanted to, like, get rid of this movie. Like,
I heard about that.
he wasn't
Really?
happy with his performance at all.
Yeah.
he thought that he was going to sound like an idiot. He thought that it ruined his career, or was going to ruin his career potentially. And he was just not happy with his performance. He thought it was just going to be a dud. So he begged Ted Kotcheff to like give him a, or not give him a copy of it, but to participate in the edit and the re-edit.
Yeah, because it was 3 hours, right?
Yeah, so they something like that. It was super long. So they went in and they cut out a bunch of his dialogue. So that's why he like barely talks in the movie until the end.
I think there's
and it strengthened it. It made it so much better, honestly. But Sly was scared that it was going to hurt his career.
Well, this was like his third movie, right?
He'd done a few since then.
I heard that he did like a porno was his first movie. That's how he broke in.
Oh yeah, the Italian Stallion
Party at Kitty's or something.
But it wasn't called that. Like that's what they introduced him as now.
He played the stud was his character's name.
Yeah. Well, he had done Rocky 1 and 2. He had done...
Two was back to back?
I believe.
Okay.
He had done Lords of Flatbush, or Flatbush, whatever.
Right.
Our favorite.
Our favorite.
Yeah, he had done Nighthawks, I believe, which I've still never seen, but I'd like to see. And then he had done, I think Paradise Alley was the other movie. So he'd done a few. He had a few under his belt.
I see.
But this was like, aside from Rocky, his next biggest franchise,
Going back, Stallone only had 380 words of dialogue in an entire movie.
Wow. Wow, that's right up there with Arnie and the first Terminator.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. Yeah. But yeah, just a masterpiece, dude. So freaking good. And then, considering I've watched this movie probably, 50 times, it's like... still holds up, dude. Like 1982, it's like so many of the messages are still fresh, and even though it's like you look at the vehicles and stuff and you know that it's from the past, it doesn't feel dated.
You know what's really great about this movie too? The soundtrack.
Oh yeah,
I love the soundtrack because it just moved the movie a lot too.
Yeah, super good. And then you get to hear the real song at the end. I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's super good.
The real song, what do you mean by that?
Like there was like I thought it was just a score, but then when the end credits play, there's like lyrics along with it.
Oh, right.
And,
right.
I don't know the name of the song, but
it sounded like it was written for the movie because it had very specific, oddly specific lyrics.
Yeah. John Rambo, he's walking into town to get food. Yeah, but let's talk about Brian Dennehy for a minute, man. But like, what a good jackass! Like he's like such a good actor. Like he played just like such a brutal jerk. And he blew me away, man.
You mean Tommy Boy's dad?
Tommy Boy's dad. Yeah, Tommy Boy's dad.
It's Max's favorite movie right there, Tommy Boy.
Yeah. But I mean, like, what a legend, man. Like, you really, like, hate him, and then you have to remember, like, no, he's just acting,
Yeah.
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 This is just a reminder, respect the vets, We don't do that enough. They kind of get, even to this day, they get disrespected in a lot of ways by our government, and they just don't get the credit that they deserve.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be here making this podcast if it wasn't for people like that who are just testosterone ham pieces who just make it, they make America possible.
Well, we might be doing the podcast, but we might be doing it in German or Japanese. So, but no, yeah, respect the vets, man. Respect the vets, definitely. And yeah, that whole opening, man, it really hits you. Why you pushing me? And it's like, and also, it's kind of different now. Because, we don't see that kind of disrespect to soldiers. But after Vietnam, it's like a lot of those guys got treated really poorly when they came back.
Well, yeah, you think of like all the movies and TV show. Like I guess you would say like earlier on in like the late 90s, early 2000s, they always treat them like homeless people on the street, like hippies, guys missing legs and stuff. And just, like everyone always like just hate them, like bug off, Like,
well, Vietnam was a very contested war. People didn't want us to be in there. Because, it was also the first televised war, so people were very exposed to the amount of violence that happens in a war. Before that, people would just hear about it on a radio. So yeah, it was televised heavily. So it was very, very contested.
And that was one of the later Vietnam movies. I feel like, well, no, I guess that's a lie because we had like Platoon and there was Full Metal Jacket, but this was one of the few movies that really showcases life after the war and someone snapping due to PTSD. Because you had plenty of Vietnam movies in the 80s, but it was like focusing on the war. So First Blood's unique. It's very unique. There's not many movies like that take place, like 7 or 8 years after the war, showing the aftermath. The only one I can think of that touches on both before the war, during the war, and after the war is The Deer Hunter with De Niro.
I don't think I've ever seen that. I
Really good.
I know of you told me you've seen that.
Yeah.
Actually, a few people have told me to watch that movie.
It's a good one. Chris Walken, one of his
Yeah,
great early
he's
performances.
A little baby in there, huh?
The J-Man.
Wow.
We're going to go to Nam. Come on, we're going to shoot some guys, even though we don't want to. Yeah, no, but it's it's a good one. I would highly recommend. Highly recommend for me.
Well, Rambo 2, the opening sequence, they have a bunch of real footage from the Vietnam War, and it's just horrific. So many dead bodies.
That one was a comedy, right? Sorry.
Not so much.
Sorry. But yeah. So,
Good Morning, Vietnam. That one was a comedy.
that one was a comedy, yeah. Masterpiece. But yeah, sensitive subject, and I think they went about it in a great way. And it made sense. Like sometimes, you have action movies where it's a little flimsy, kind of like the inciting incident doesn't make a lot of sense. You're not sure why the character's so dark and so intense, but Rambo makes total sense. Like you're just like, yeah, he got pushed too far. The guy has seen horrific things. He lost all his friends in his platoon, and he's like at his wit's end. You know what I mean? And it makes sense that he has the skill set to take on 100 sheriff's guys and army guys coming at him. So it's like perfectly written. Perfect character development. Like just exquisite.
So much violence, and at the end of the day, you want it.
Yeah.
You don't feel like, oh, this is needless.
Yeah.
Everything was deserved.
100%. Yeah. One thing that I find impressive is just like with Terminator 2, he wasn't killing anybody. It's just like you have crazy action, tons of explosions, tons of shooting, and like hardly anybody dies. So it's like pretty impressive.
He's a merciful warrior.
He is a merciful warrior.
Just let me go.
Yeah. So good. So good, man. But I think we should talk about some fun facts. I didn't really look up any others aside from the fact that Sly wasn't crazy about the original cut. But if you guys want to pull some up, or if you have any read,
I have some. I mean, there was I think there was actually 20 rewrites. Like they wrote this 20 or 26 times.
Rewrite.
Yeah, and a lot of it took a while to get Stallone actually in here, and they finally landed. I'm glad they landed on him because actually Stallone helped write the movie and make it what it is now, which is really awesome.
And he's a great screenwriter.
And then how many movies we got from him so far? I mean, they're probably done with Rambo movies. Hopefully.
Yeah, I think Last Blood kind of implied,
Yeah, and then also I know Kirk Douglas was originally supposed to be the Colonel.
Troutman.
Yeah, he was supposed to be him, but he wanted to be like the main focus of the movie.
Yeah,
which is I don't know if I would like that. I guess in the book he had more of a I guess he was more in line with Rambo. He was also a vet as well, but I think in this different war.
Okay.
So like they were
Korea.
very he understood Rambo a lot more in the book compared to the movie. Also, Rambo came from apples. The name.
Really?
It came from green apples. The writer of the book was I guess it's a type of apples. I didn't know that.
Rainbow apple.
So his wife went shopping and everything, and she'd always get like some kind of apples. And she came back home, and he was like trying to figure out a name for this character, and she came back with these Rambo apples.
It's like a brand or something.
Yeah, I don't. I guess it's a certain type of apple, and that's what it came
maybe.
from.
That's crazy. So the movie was almost called Granny Smith.
Granny Smith.
Yeah, and then they changed it at the last minute. So
Rambo apple.
that's a fun fact. That is a fun fact.
It's a weird one, but yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, interesting.
Well, I think it's interesting that this was a film produced for $15 million and it grossed 125.
Grossed a lot.
So that's a low budget
Yeah.
relative to the impact that it's made.
I didn't know it had that big of a budget, but it totally makes sense seeing how many things they blew up in that movie and just how many people they had. One thing I want to talk about before I forget is one of the sheriff deputies I actually met in real life, one of the actors, Chris Mulkey. I worked on a set. We'll insert a picture of Chris Mulkey here.
I won't insert it.
I worked put a picture of Betty White. No, he was super nice. I worked on a set in California about 8 years ago on a short film called It Happened Again Last Night. Sounds like a porno, but it wasn't. It was a drama about domestic abuse. And I was just a production assistant on it. And this guy I was working on is one of the actors. And I was looking at him. I'm like, where do I know him from? I'm like, I know this guy. I talked to him. He's like, oh, hey, I'm Chris. I started talking to him. And I said, hey, Chris, I said, you just have a really recognizable face. I said, what have I seen you in? He started going through some stuff. And, I talked to him for a little bit, and we found out I knew him from Boardwalk Empire, and also because that was popular at the time, and then of course First Blood, and he was in a whole bunch of other stuff too. If you look at his IMDb, he was in a whole bunch of stuff, and I was just ecstatic. I was just like, dude, tell me what it was like working on that movie. And he said his favorite part of it was working with Sly. He said it was just such a treat. He said he was so cool. He said Brian Denny, he was really fun to work with. He said everyone had like a good vibe, like everyone got along really well. He said it was super cold up in British Columbia where they filmed. He said
I'm sure
it looks insanely cold where you can see people's breath. He said it was like miserably cold. But he said it was a good time for him. It was like he was making good money working on it. His acting career was starting to take off. His wife was pregnant at the time with their first kid. And he said it was just kind of like a very magical time. Like things were happening in his personal life, things were happening in his professional life. And he was just a really cool dude. So yeah, shout out to Chris Mulkey. He was super nice. I think I have his email somewhere. We should try to get him on a pod on NOX sometime. That'd be kind of cool. But yeah, just wanted to throw that. And then also we had a young, I didn't meet him, but in the movie there was a young David Caruso from like CSI Miami.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I was like, damn, he was young.
I was looking up the cast and I was like, oh wait,
yeah,
who else can I know that guy?
Yeah, cool. So they had some cool supporting guys. And some of those guys were really funny. David Caruso, actually, there were a few moments where he reminded me of Lloyd Christmas. Like he's like, man, I knew there was something about that guy. And he had his cowboy hat on, and I'm like, God, that's so Lloyd Christmas. It's like, hey, big gulps.
Green Beret, war hero. That's great. That's just great.
Speaking of Christmas, this is actually a Christmas movie. I didn't think it. Like,
I made a note of that.
Yeah, see, I never noticed it. Like this is set around Christmas time. I was like, wow. I
had never noticed that either. But yeah, you see it.
Another action movie.
Was it?
Yeah, set around Christmas time.
In the sheriff's office, you see a bunch of little Christmas trees and lights,
Christmas decorations looking around the town and stuff.
And what's so badass about that is Die Hard, Lethal Weapon. No one ever talks about Lethal Weapon taking place during Christmas. And First Blood, I've never heard anyone mention that.
Never.
All three of those, man, Christmas movies. Yep. So we got a new one to watch around December.
And the series Happy was a good like Christmas movie that wasn't a Christmas movie.
Happy?
Yeah, it just took place on Christmas.
The TV show Happy.
It's about like an imaginary
with,
friend.
the guy from Christopher Meloni.
I really liked that show.
I watched the first, from Law and Order. I watched a couple episodes. It was really good, but I don't know why I stopped watching it. I know it got canceled, I think. But
I'd say you go back to it. It's good.
I will.
They got a second season after a few years.
I'm so glad you mentioned the Christmas thing.
Yeah, that's one of the things I noticed. I was like, wait a second.
Yeah, no, it's super cool. That's super cool. There's something about this. So if we ever make an action movie, we got to set it around Christmas and make it subtle. Make it where it's not the focus, but make it where it's just like, oh. And what's cool is that no one even mentions it. You don't hear anyone say Merry Christmas. You don't hear anything. It's just like a subtle little set piece.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is cool.
That's funny. You got the Christmas Vacation DVD right behind your head.
We've been having a lot of stuff like that pop up for him.
It really has. Where is it?
It's like right behind you.
Like literally right behind you.
There it is.
Yeah, right there.
Well, Buddy Joe Hooker, who was the stunt coordinator for this movie, also did the Lethal Weapon series.
Interesting.
Along with Blues Brothers and Speed.
I could definitely see Blues Brothers with some of the car chases and some of the beating up of vehicles. You know what I thought was crazy about this was looking at the end credits, there were only 6 stunt guys in this episode.
Yeah, and a lot of bones were broken in this movie. A lot of ribs. Stallone broke his rib when he jumped off of the cliff and hit the tree. He actually broke his rib. And I think the stuntman actually broke his rib doing that stunt as well, too. So
that's crazy. And
they just had to wait, a little bit to heal up. But he pushed through, man. It's crazy.
It's amazing. It's crazy that they did both. So you probably had the stuntman doing the really high dive off the mountainside. And then Mountainside Fitness, and then you probably had
go there, man.
I don't, but Stallone does, and so there's a stuntman. But then when Stallone's going through the trees, it's like that was him for sure because you can see his face. So he got effed up, it's like cracked rib or whatever. But yeah, shout out to Sly, man.
That was really him sewing himself up there too.
Really?
No, actually, I don't know. I was gonna say, I was looking at it, but I mean, the detail was actually really real.
It looks really good.
It kept bleeding in it. I was looking at it. I was like, they did it really good.
I watched it with my dad, and my dad said when he saw it when it first came out in theaters, he said everyone was like so grossed out in the theater at that scene. He remembers people going,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I guess, man, we've seen a lot more worse now.
Yeah, and he liked it so much because it came out when he would have been like 22. He was in theaters watching it, and then he sat through it a second time because it blew him away so much. Like, he loved it so much.
Well, shout out to John R. Fraser. Usually I like to talk about special effects and stuff like that, but there was virtually no special effects. It was all practical, all the explosions and the stunts and the sewing up of the arm. It was all done in real time.
Which is amazing. Yeah, practical all the way, man. I think that's why these movies hold up so well. It's like, if you watch something from 20 years ago and the CGI is not that great, you lose interest super fast. But you watch something from 40 some odd years ago and it's got practical effects, it's like, dude, this is great. It holds up totally.
Well, this special effects artist, he did Spider-Man as well.
Oh, number one, numero uno?
Number one, and The Dark Knight,
Sam Raimi.
and Transformers.
Wow.
Yeah, The Dark Moon. Like, which one is that? Like,
That's number 4, number 5? Oh, there's so many.
That's
Transformers.
Too many.
Whatever.
It's a Mark Wahlberg one, I believe.
Anyways,
Not a huge fan.
First Transformers is great.
Yeah, first one was really
Second
good.
one's fun, but it's
Yeah.
goofy.
I think we aged out of it.
I think we did.
yeah, it's for kids.
Yeah, I
Like
was in
Jar Jar Binks.
I still love Jar Jar Binks. I don't care what anyone says. Any opportunity a Jar Jar Binks impression. Misa, Anisa, Misa, honey.
Well, I think he just had too much screen time. But then I just found out today that they recut the movie. A bunch of fans did that just reduced his screen time
And that's
a
a shame.
little bit because he had the 4th most screen time of all the characters.
That's
Really?
Yeah, he was in almost every single scene. Jar Jar,
That's great.
and that's why everybody was pissed off.
That's great.
So they just reduced his screen time by about 15 minutes, cut it in half, and I guess it's much better that way.
How would? That's crazy.
Honey.
That's funny. That's great.
What came from this movie, though, was that Rambo knife, by the way. Speaking of pets.
They made a real knife?
So the knife wasn't in the books at all. They actually introduced that knife in the movie.
Badass.
And what's cool about the knife, it like detached and it had his like sewing
Compass
kit and
and
everything.
stuff.
His
It had the
compass.
suture.
And like I guess after that movie came out, everyone wanted to buy one. And a lot of people wanted to buy one of those knives.
You can get them at like a surplus store.
Yeah, you can get them now. Yeah.
That's where Sly would keep his steroids.
Yes.
But one thing I will say about Sly's workouts and his physique in this is he was still very normal. It was before he got to like that superhero level of like Rambo 3 where he's like
Steroids,
He's
maybe.
jacked. And
he's very, very fit, but he's like, I feel like as fit as you can get, like probably without roids in First Blood. Like where you look at him and you're just like, oh, this dude is just straight up shredded, like little to no body fat, working out constantly.
Yeah.
And I don't think he was on any kind of roids or anything like that at this point in his career. He looked just like a normal dude that was just, shredded.
Completely shredded.
Yeah, I would say his most shredded era was, First Blood, Rambo 2, or First Blood Part 2, and then probably like Rocky 3. But then
Rocky 3, yeah.
But then I think when you get to Rocky 4, I could be wrong. I don't want to pass judgment on Sly, but I think that's probably when steroids probably started coming in the picture. But yeah,
Gosh, I'm just thinking about what you mentioned earlier, where he didn't have very many speaking lines in the movie.
yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's any footage of that online that we can watch of like the more lengthy dialogue, like the more wordy version.
3-hour cut.
Yeah. There were a few movies like that, like Dumb and Dumber had a 3-hour cut.
Yeah, it's cool. I want that. I want that so bad.
Yeah, there are a lot of clips floating around that we can watch.
What I like about like no dialogue in movies, like you don't have to speak to tell a story.
Yeah.
Like you think of like the Mad Max series, like he barely speaks in that one as well.
Transporter, he like barely talks. Terminator. Well, Terminator 2 he talks a lot, but Terminator 1 like hardly at all.
In film school, they taught us to try watching the edit back without sound, and if it still kind of carries along the story, then it's a good movie.
Hell yeah. I mean, that's perfect. I mean, look at silent films, But before our audience goes silent on us, I think we should talk about alternate castings.
Alternate casting.
Kick us off, James.
Let me see. Let me pull mine up again. All right. For Sylvester Stallone, okay, it's John Rambo.
This was a tough one. It was tough.
I went with someone kind of like typical. Mel Gibson. I think he could have brought a different emotional depth into the role of Rambo.
For sure.
Also the long hair and everything from like Lethal Weapon.
Yep.
You can see it. if he worked out pretty well, he can get fit and jacked.
Yeah, for sure.
For Brian Dennehy, Sheriff, is it Teasel? I did James Caan. He can add intensity. He could make the sheriff both more intimidating and more sympathetic.
Very nice.
I believe.
Very good.
And for Richard Crenna, Colonel Trotman, did Gene Hackman.
Nice.
He just has authority of presence and had experience in military roles.
Solid. Yeah.
I also did a director as well.
Good job.
I know we didn't do a director last episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
For Small Soldiers, we didn't.
We did not.
Oh shit.
I thought about it when I was re-editing, and we did not do a director.
Wow. Well, I'll just say one right now. I'll say, Spielberg. I think Spielberg would have been good, or
Well, you produced it.
yeah, or Tim Burton. Tim Burton
would have been good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Tim Burton as well for that one.
For small soldiers, not Rambo.
I'm not gonna insert a picture for Tim.
Nah.
Tim Burton in there. Okay. Director, because it was Ted Kochev, right?
Yeah.
I did Walter Hill. He's good at showcasing tough guys such as Warriors.
Almost did
48 Hours.
I almost did Walter Hill, and I changed it at the 11th hour.
Yeah. See, you've done Walter Hill before, but I've never done Walter Hill.
I'm glad you did.
So
Good choice. Max, do you have any in mind?
I just thought Rambo, Chris Hemsworth.
Classic.
Yeah.
He'd have to have the hammer, though.
Yeah, I kind of
no knife, hammer.
Yeah.
I have passed this one. I just
okay.
came up with that a second ago.
That's totally fine, man. You want me to take over, or you got any more?
No, I don't have any.
All right. So my first note on there.
Or maybe Tom Hardy.
Oh, Tom Hardy. Okay.
That'd be good. I'm going with more modern.
That's fine. No, I like you do the modern spin. We do the classic spin. It's good for perspective, My first note on here is Rambo is a Christmas movie, and it auto corrected to, instead of Die Hard, it says Diego Hard at Lethal Weapon. So it's Diego Hard. Yeah,
Another name for a porno.
yeah, another one. Yep. So my alternate casting, I definitely had a couple similar ideas as you, but I switched a couple of them up. So for Rambo, I put Al Pacino. I thought Al Pacino would be an interesting
He was
choice.
actually, sorry,
in the running.
he was in the running, but he wanted to change the character up a lot too.
Interesting.
Yeah, make it more violent and more of the action.
Yeah.
Which he got to do later on. I think with Scarface a couple years later.
Yeah, he was
got that
definitely all
violent
about
movie
it.
he wanted.
That's cool, which is crazy because First Blood was pretty violent,
Yeah.
but they wanted more violence, I guess. So yeah, Pacino. I also picked Tom Berenger. You would know him from, I believe he was in Platoon, Tom Berenger. And also Kurt Russell. He would have been a few years younger than Sly.
I almost thought about Kurt
But
Russell.
it would have been a year after Escape from New York, so he could have pulled it off if he was like a young guy in Vietnam. For Colonel Troutman, I picked Charles Bronson, Lance Henriksen from Alien, or Paul Newman. I thought Paul Newman would be
I
interesting.
think Paul Newman was in line too.
Really?
I think he was. There was a lot of people in line
I'm
in
sure.
this movie.
You know who also crossed my mind just because Richard Crenna looks like him? Ronald Reagan. I thought Ronald, but he would have already been president. The actor. And who's Secretary of State? Jerry Lewis.
Ronald Reagan, the actor? Huh. Then who's vice president? Jerry Lewis?
But yeah, so those guys crossed my mind. For Will Teagan, Brian Dennehy's character, I picked James Caan, Dennis Hopper, or Ted Knight.
I almost said James Caan also.
Yeah. Ted Knight from Caddyshack. I thought I would like to see him in something dramatic, And then for director and writer, I picked actually the same person. I picked John Milius, who did Conan the Barbarian and Red Dawn.
Nice.
So-
That's really good.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Red Dawn. Yeah.
Masterpiece. First PG-13 movie ever.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, fun fact.
Good choices.
Thank you, man. Thank you. But yeah, what else can I say about this movie, man? It was sweet. It was perfect. If we want to go into our star ratings, I'm going to agree with Max. This is a solid 5-star film. This is perfection. Perfect writing, perfect cast, perfect direction, perfect amount of action, perfect pacing. It's not too long. So yeah, this is a hard 5 out of 5 for me.
I want to give it a 5, but I think I'm going to stick with like a 4.5.
Wow. We have yet to all have a 5-star.
Yeah. No, we did a 5 all.
Mosquito Coast?
Possibly.
Yeah.
I think we did something else recently. It was 5 stars.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
we came close on Small Soldiers, but he did 4.9.
4.9. He likes to be a little silly goose.
I love that he did 5 on this one. That makes me very happy.
Yeah, 4.5.
I was all in. I went from being on the edge of my seat to tearing up, and it took me
Wow.
through the full range of emotions.
What was your 2 or 3 favorite parts of the film?
I mean, the helicopter scene was pretty intense.
Yeah.
That's some talented helicoptering right there.
Yeah, it was wild.
I thought the first scene where he finds out that his friend died of cancer at the very beginning.
Spoiler alert.
That didn't really hit me until after I'd finished the movie, where I was like, man, that first scene really, that really hit me.
He took Vietnam with him home, so
Yeah.
cancer.
I could pull him off the sheets.
And I mean, I kind of like the scene where he fucked up the captain in the end.
Oh yeah,
That was satisfying. I was
That was
waiting
awesome.
for that. I hate it. There's popcorn in my throat.
It's okay.
I'm not crying, I swear.
They drew first corn.
Yeah. No, and that final monologue, I think actually made that might be better. That was touching.
That was really good. There is something interesting about that last like 10 to 15 minutes of the movie where he goes back into town and he's blowing shit up, and it's like really the final showdown when everything's coming to an end. It always feels fresh to me, dude. Like every time I watch that, I'm like, it always feels like new. Like I'm like, oh, like I almost don't remember this. Like there's something about just that ending that's just like so intense.
yeah. I've seen this movie less than you. I think that I'm probably not even in the double digits. Probably like 5 times, maybe 6. I don't know. But like it's always refreshing to rewatch, and then seeing that scene again too is like really like brand new watching it again.
I think it's so cool seeing Rambo in the town.
Yeah, it, like
you're so used to him in the woods.
it also showcases like more of like that PTSD side of him. Like he's just like lost it.
Yeah.
Like he's just shooting up anything at this point in town.
And if
like,
Troutman,
damn, he's going crazy.
If Troutman wouldn't have been there, he would have died there.
yeah,
Like if he wouldn't have come in and wouldn't have known anybody, like that would have been his like we can't say the word on YouTube, but that would have been his end of times mission. You know what I mean? Yeah, which is crazy, dude. But I'm really glad they went with the ending that they did. I'm glad that we got more. If we had to rank them, I think we said on the last episode, I would say First Blood, then Rambo, number 4, the one where he's in Burma shooting everybody up. So violent, so good. Then I would say 2, 3, and then Last Blood last. Last Blood I was not a huge fan of. It's still worth a watch. It's still good. It has some good parts, but not nearly as good as First Blood.
What's it called? Last Blood?
Rambo
Last Blood. Yeah. I enjoyed it. I think, like you said, it's not the best one.
Yeah.
I just think a lot of movies were doing the whole cartel thing, and it's like you watch that one, I'm like, it's kind of crazy, like because that stuff is happening in the world.
Yeah.
It's like it's intense and insane, and it's just weird that they threw Rambo in there. I'm just like, I wanted Rambo in the jungle always.
Yeah.
So I mean, but I like what they did.
They did a good job, yeah. And not to knock it fully, like I said, I respect Sly, I respect the series, but I think part of it was just kind of hard to watch. Like some of the like sex trafficking and stuff, I was like, this is kind of dark. Yeah. But that's reality, man. Like shit's dark. War's dark. Cartel stuff is dark.
Just off the bat, I think the naming convention of the movie was kind of lazy, maybe.
Yeah, Last Blood.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because they already
Last Blood.
They already did Rambo.
Yeah, but
I like that one. That one's.
I love that one. Yeah, that's why that one's my second favorite. Yeah. The one where he's out in Burma. That one is so bloody, dude.
Yeah,
it's like one of the bloodiest movies I've ever seen.
Him on the machine gun.
So
which one is that?
Rambo.
It's just called Rambo.
It's called Rambo,
and it was like around like 2007 ish, something like that. But so freaking good. And that was like Sly's like really intense comeback.
Yeah, because he had that, and then he also had Rocky Balboa.
Yeah,
so he was
they were
doing like those final movies,
and then like a year after that, the first Expendables.
Yeah,
so he was like boom, 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 like back in action, baby, like so good. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about First Blood. But I'm really glad you enjoyed it, man. I'm glad you got to experience it.
Thank you for the recommendation,
dude.
Thanks for not saying, "Oh my god, I can't believe you haven't seen that."
Yeah, I mean, we do a little bit just to tease you, but like in all honesty, I just want you to enjoy it and check it out. You guys want to hop into some entertainment news?
Let's go into it. Let's do it.
I think you should kick it off, James, with the cups.
Oh yeah, yes, let's do that. McDonald's right now. I don't know for how long. I know it was starting today. What is it? The 13th day. Mm-hmm. They are releasing little collector's cups, and it just reminds us of like the old 90 ones they had. So this like right here, I got a little Jurassic Park on it. Mm-hmm. Has Minions, Shrek. The only downside I would say, it's not glass, but that might be a good thing because what the glass ones had like poison.
Well, it was the
good old days.
The paint on the outside of the cup had
lead.
high concentration of lead.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
And plus, if you put it in the dishwasher, it was destroyed.
Yeah.
Mm,
I'm
classic.
definitely going to I don't even know if I'm going to actually drink out of these, but hand wash if I do.
I don't think you should drink out of them. I think you should keep them.
I'll probably keep them out in here somewhere.
Yeah.
There's like a set of, I think 6, maybe more of them. Ben has the other one that I got as well. It's really cool.
Are they all movie characters?
No.
These ones just have Coca-Cola polar bears on them.
There's a... I like that one. I like the classic Coca-Cola
That's nice,
one.
yeah.
There's a Snoopy one with like Hello Kitty. It's crazy. There's weird.
They're just like, what do we have the rights to? Go.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's
Throw it in a
fun.
cup.
So, kind of like James was saying, like, we kind of talked this stuff into reality. We, like, manifest it.
Yeah, we talked about like whatever happened to all this stuff. Like they need to bring
Yeah.
it back, and like sure enough, man,
There they go.
They're bringing stuff back, which is really cool.
So, we'll know they're listening to us if we get Batman Forever Happy Meal toys next year when they do the Schumacher cut. So, fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed. But, yeah, we're at kind of an interesting juncture. I mean, by the time this comes out, you know, this might sound slightly dated or whatever, but that's kind of the point. You know, we're trying to, you know, roll with what's coming out. But, like, we got Alien Romulus coming out. We've got The Crow coming out. Let's see what else. There's something else on the horizon we were excited about. I don't know, but those are the two. And then of course a lot of good classics coming back to the cinemas. We got The Mask coming back for its 30th anniversary. Twister, the original Bill Paxton one's coming back. Rear Window, which I really want to see on the big screen.
It's the end of this month, right?
Yep. Yeah, I believe it's on the 26th, I think.
Is Blade coming out? Is there another Blade movie?
I hope so.
Well, in the future, not with
Yeah.
Wesley Snipes though.
Oh, really?
I'm still
Dang it.
holding out for Spawn, dude. But we'll see. I don't know if we're ever gonna get it.
It's taking so long. Todd
I know.
McFarlane.
They've been talking. Todd McFarlane needs to just say, "Hey, dude, like,
Someone take over it.
be executive producer, do the George Lucas route with, like, you know, Empire Strikes Back, and have someone else actually direct it." You know what I mean? Just like, anyway, Max, take it over,
All
buddy.
right. Entertainment news. We got the old man, Jeff Bridges, big fan. John Lithgow, big fan. They got signed up for a season 2.
Never watched the first one.
Max and I actually watched the pilot together.
Really?
And I mean,
It didn't grab me.
yeah, it.
We watched one episode and kind of just left it.
Yeah, and maybe I'll go back and finish it, you know, because I really like John Lithgow and I really like Jeff Bridges, but everyone else aside from those guys were pretty bad actors, it felt like, and it just didn't, I don't know, I didn't believe it. And we could predict everything too when we were watching. I'm like, okay, I bet, you know, they're driving in a car, I bet in like 5 minutes we're going to have the car flip in a chase, and sure as shit, the car flips. And it was just, I don't know, poorly acted.
Yeah, you called every single plot point in the pilot.
It was easy to do.
It is a pilot, so
Yeah.
sometimes that's not indicative of the rest of the series.
Yeah, but as far as Jeff Bridges himself and John Lithgow himself, really good actors. So nothing against them, but the rest of it was a little flimsy, you know.
All right, so skip it probably.
Yeah. But maybe I'll go back if I'm.
Your dad liked it, right? Your dad recommended it?
My dad loved it.
So
yeah.
maybe if you're an old man, no
Yeah.
offense to Ben's dad.
No, it's okay. He's an old man, but he has good taste generally, so I trust him. But yeah, it's I don't know. Maybe I'll go back one day. We'll see.
God, I saw a movie with this guy where he worked at a phone.
Oh yeah, it's like thank you. No, what's that called? I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that movie was really good. But what is he doing now?
He's doing a lot of stuff.
What are we talking about?
He's doing a horror movie.
The guy from
Lakeith
Get Out,
Oh yeah.
also in Haunted Mansion, the new one.
Okay.
I like him, but I think they are throwing him in a lot of movies now. He's like that cool guy, but awkward at the same time.
He's having his moment, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah, the movie I saw was sort of like a workaholics thing where
that one was weird.
I thought it was fun,
end-
like indie.
Yeah, I liked it, and then dude, it just like poof goes so randomly in the back. At the end, sorry. Ugh. I can't speak today.
Terminator 4K restoration.
Oh, beautiful. Okay.
Let's see, how did it look?
Really? Oh, never mind. I'm thinking of T2.
I like having different formats of different movies because on one hand it's sick to watch them in 4K and totally restored and look at them at like totally crisp like if they were shot yesterday, but also a part of me likes like the VHS crackle and the DVD lower res. So it's like I like, you know, one thing I wish they would do is I wish they'd come out with these deluxe box sets where it's like, okay, here's the 4K print and then here's exactly how it looked when it came out in theaters on another disc.
I think Arrow does that.
Does Arrow do
sometimes.
that?
I think Arrow does do like here's like DVD.
Yeah.
But they don't ever have like the work print one. Like freaking The Punisher did that. That was really cool.
That was sick. Yeah.
James Cameron's getting really crazy with 4K releases.
Yeah.
He's using a lot of AI.
I hate that.
To help edit them. So if you look in the background of like some of the
bad,
scenes,
yeah.
their faces are all warped and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's doing. Like, but some of the movie looks really nice. Like,
Yeah.
I haven't yet watched The Abyss on 4K. I bought it. Never seen The Abyss.
True Lies. I heard there were some major glaring issues,
I
like
heard,
people's faces looking distorted and stuff.
Terminator 2 as well. They got rid of so he like did the golden hour for the scene when they're riding the motorcycle. Blue tint now in the 4K. And I was like, why would you do that? Because you waited that long to film that scene, James.
And it's so ironic with James Cameron with the giant alien penis coming out of his head right there.
I was gonna say
His head is
something.
pretty big right now.
Yeah, it's he's getting a little cocky there, I think.
Yeah.
Well, he's probably making money doing this.
Well, he's making money either way. He's one
Oh,
of the
people love
richest
their 4K
directors.
transfer. I mean, I still purchase them.
No, it's cool to do, but like if you're James Cameron, maybe take a little bit more time on it. Like this is going to be preserved for all time. It's your work you spent years and years on. It's your legacy. Like maybe put a little more effort into the restoration. You know?
Yeah, I think it's just for me. I'm gonna go with like I said, like Arrow, Shout Factory, Screen Factory. Like they still come out 4K releases, but it's like their print. Like they're gonna edit it and like redo the film. Like
Criterion does a
when
good
you
job,
get like James Cameron, like it's gonna be like a big studio or head that do it, like a big I guess like publisher. And I was just like, I don't know if I want those. I want like these other publishers that do this.
The smaller ones like Arrow and Criterion and stuff, well, smaller, they're still pretty big, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Compared to like Universal, they really seem to take their time. Now, Criterion,
They color, sound, everything.
Criterion looks beautiful, but I'm a little iffy on their selections.
Yeah, because sometimes boring.
Yeah, like I feel like Criterion, for me at least, my taste, it'll be like 1 out of 10 or
We'll just
worthy.
throw all Wes Anderson.
Yeah, I feel like it's curated by a bunch of like hipster film students that just like to be kind of snobbish.
Yeah, if you like Criterion's, it's fine. Like I still enjoy some Criterion movies.
I have quite a few of them, yeah. But I think some of their choices are kind of iffy. But that being said, I still like Criterion. I think they do a beautiful job with their.
I haven't bought a new Criterion movie in a while though.
Oh, yeah, because they're picking crappy ones.
Yes.
But yeah, it is what it is.
Well, this looks pretty interesting. Jamie Foxx leaks a trailer to his unreleasable film. Apparently, it was culturally sensitive controversy.
Oh,
Is this the one with
so
like Robert
sensitive.
Downey Jr. is like he's not blackface, he's Mexican face? Is that the one?
he just loves pushing that envelope, doesn't he?
Hey, yeah.
I like RDJ. He's great. I still disagree with Dr. Doom though, but I love RDJ.
Yeah.
Great actor. I love Jamie Foxx too, man. I'm really glad he's back after his stroke, man. Because we almost lost him, but he's fantastic, man. Collateral, one of my favorites.
I feel like if you're doing comedy and it's not controversial, it's not funny.
Yeah, what do you
like this has got to be a great movie. It's got to be funny if it's that controversial.
Oh, and it's also got
Is that Jeremy Piven?
Jeremy Piven, yeah.
Oh yeah, this must be an older movie. It has to be.
Interesting. What happened to Piven? Did
He got blacklisted.
that's too bad.
But what did he do?
I like Piven.
I don't know, sexual conduct or something. Who knows?
Classic.
I mean, I think everyone in Hollywood could be put away for that kind
Jeremy
of stuff.
Piven's the best in Entourage.
I loved Entourage,
Oh, yeah.
dude. I feel like we've never all talked about Entourage. Have we all watched it all the way through?
Yeah, I
No.
think it's almost time to rewatch it.
Yeah, same. You didn't watch it, Max?
I've watched a lot of it, but I don't think
Vinny
I've watched
Chase.
it all the way through.
So good, man. And even the movie was all right, but the show was so fun, man. I really enjoyed it. I still wish that main actor would have been Aquaman.
Yeah.
in James Cameron's Aquaman. Yeah, but no, so good. Yeah, Jeremy Piven was fantastic. Yeah, great movie, man. Or great show and movie.
All right. Well, we are. Oh, there's Swingers 2.
What?
Vince
Vince
Vaughn.
No way, dude.
They wrote a script and it was almost a third film.
okay.
That's this.
Yeah, because they did Swingers and then they did Made.
Made, yeah.
Made I never liked nearly as much as
I
Swingers.
don't think I've watched Made.
It was good. It was a good movie, but not nearly as good as Swingers. Swingers I was like obsessed with for a while, dude. It was so good.
Oh, Matrix is 25 years old.
Classic. I'm surprised they didn't do a big theatrical re-release for that like they did with The Mummy.
For Matrix?
Yeah.
They might have. I don't know.
The Wachowskis, they can't
I
decide.
think they are about to do that.
The Wachowskis can't decide on anything, even their gender. But yeah. Anyway, anything else?
No, I think that we should wrap it up. We're at 50 minutes. I think this is a great episode, guys.
That was a great episode, man. I'm just thankful we got Sly doing stuff still. We got another season of Tulsa King coming out, which is very exciting. If you guys are Sly fans, definitely check out Tulsa King. Like, it is so freaking good. You got Terrence Winter, you've got Taylor Sheridan, who did Yellowstone, and Sicario, and
what are you watching that on?
Paramount.
Paramount, yeah.
It's Paramount, yeah.
Paramount, who erased all the news archives of MTV. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, it's weird.
Insanity.
Crazy.
Dude. Yeah.
The news archives?
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically everything on their website, like all the articles that had ever been written,
There's
apparently
websites that you can
they deleted them, yeah.
I mean, eventually your hard drive's gonna fill up and you have to take something off of there.
No excuse, man.
know.
No excuse. So I disagree with them on that, but I do like Paramount. I do like Paramount otherwise. Anyway,
we have to decide what we're watching next. We didn't.
we're gonna watch the original Crow, the Brandon Lee Crow. And like I said, I have no connection to the original Crow. I've never seen the original Crow. I know.
Me
shocker.
neither.
Oh, here
Really?
we go. Cool.
Yeah.
So it'll be
Okay.
a fresh experience for us.
Are you a fan, James?
I enjoy it. I watched it recently, like a couple months ago, and I was like, yeah, but it's not a bad film.
It's a comic book movie.
Yeah.
But it's kind of gritty.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm excited.
Sick. Yeah, I'm excited too.
I like the world.
De Niro Crow. I'm a crow.
I'm a crow.
I'm a crow.
I'm a crow.
Crow. Shout out to Dudesy.
I'm a crow.
Anyway, guys, so be kind.
Rewind.
And subscribe.
Thank you for watching. I'm a crow. I'm a crow. I'm a crow. That was beautiful.
It's over. Nothing is over. Nothing. You just don't turn it off.